Good evening. It is Monday, December 11th, 2023, and I will now call to order the Wayzata School Board regular meeting for December 11th, 2023. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Milan Sahoni,
Present.
Linda Cohen,
Here.
Heidi Cater, here. Bonita Lucky, here. Cheryl Poseen,
Here.
Sheila Pryor, here. Chase Anderson,
Here.
Sarah Johansson.
Here. All right. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. The first item on our agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and addressed. The consent agenda items are listed in the board packet, and the recommended action is to approve the agenda and the consent agenda. Is there a motion to that effect?
Second.
It's been moved by Linda, seconded by Milland, and it's a roll call vote.
Heidi Cater,
Yes.
Bonita Lucky,
Yes.
Cheryl Poseen,
Yes.
Milan Sahoni,
Yes.
Linda Cohen, Sheila Pryor,
Yes.
Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Fantastic. We have an agenda, and we have a little bit of a different format this evening. The first item on our agenda will, in fact, be the Truth in Taxation hearing. And I will soon turn it over to Dee Dee Caring, who will facilitate this hearing with a presentation, followed by the audience opportunity to address the board specifically related to the Truth in Taxation items. It's important to note that we'll have two opportunities to address the board this evening. The first will be immediately following the Truth in Taxation, and the second will be following the Student Spotlight presentation, where it typically is in our agenda. It's also important to note that the comments that will be made at this portion of the public comment after the Truth in Taxation hearing will need to relate specifically to the contents of the hearing, and it is requested or a requirement that you are a district resident in order to address the board related to Truth in Taxation, and you will need to state your name and address before speaking. Immediately following the Truth in Taxation public comment, we'll resume our meeting agenda, beginning with a slew of really fun recognitions. So for now, I'll turn it over to Dee Dee Caring.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson, and our community. Tonight is our opportunity to do the Truth in Taxation presentation. It's for taxes payable in 2024. So requirements of this include a review of the 23-24 budget and the tax levy. Additional requirements are that the meeting is held between November 25th and December 28th at 6 p.m. or later. All school districts, in fact, cities and counties as well, must hold a meeting, and the levy may be adopted at the same meeting. We will do that tonight, or ask the board to do that this evening. We'll review a current year budget for 23-24. And then the proposed levy will be discussed, including the percent increase and the specific purpose and reasons for the increase. Public will be allowed to comment, as Chair Johansson mentioned earlier, and I'll review that process in a minute. So funding for school districts is set by the state of Minnesota. They set the funding formulas, which is things like the percent, or the per pupil amount. It also sets the state tax policy. In addition, it sets the maximum authorization for property tax levy. It authorizes our school board to submit referendas for operating and capital needs for voters for approval. And you'll know that we just did that at the November timeframe for the election when we held our school board election, and that was for our capital project referenda or our tech levy. The levy development is in 3 different categories. You'll see later that I'll describe all of these, but the general levy, which is for the general fund purposes. The community services, which is our community education, our early childhood programs, and our adult basic education. And then our debt service, which is our levy to pay for the bond and principal interest for voter-approved referenda. When we create our general fund levy, we include things such as our student enrollment, our voter-approved operating referenda for both operating and capital, and then our facilities. And our facilities, it includes looking at things such as the age and square footage of our buildings as well. When we look at our total tax levy, the general fund is the largest portion of it at 78.6%. It provides funding for regular and special education programs, transportation, equipment, capital projects, and our long-term facility program. Community service, the smallest portion of our tax levy, is 2.2%, and that is for all of those community education programs I mentioned earlier. And then finally, our debt service at 19.2% is a levy to pay for the principal and interest on our bonds. Next, I'll talk about our District 2023-24 budget. So the budget for all funds, and this was approved by the school board in June of 2023. You'll see on the left-hand side, we recognize the general fund, food service fund, community service, construction, and debt service. On the revenue side, you'll see for the general fund, just over $205 million of revenue and expense of $202.7 million in expense. The percents that you see after each of those dollar amounts is representing the total percent compared to our budget. So when you look at $205 million in revenue and compare that to the $244 million in revenue, you can see that we have about 84.25% of our budget is for the general fund. And that'll become important in the next few slides. Next, for food service, just over $8.9 million in revenue and 8.7% million in expense. And it's around that 3.5 to 3.6% of our total budget. Next, for community service, our revenue at $13.2 million and $13.17 million on expenses, and around that 5.4% of the total budget. Next on construction. So construction fund is used for when bonds are sold and the remaining amount, the bond proceeds, goes into an account called construction. Those funds are used then to do the work that we need for the construction project, whether it's building a new school or an addition. You'll see in this one that $291,000 in revenue compared to $4.1 million in expenses. The $4.1 million is using funds that we received previously from a bond referenda. And the $291,000 in revenue, it relates mostly to interest income or some rebates that we might have received. Next on debt service, $15.977 million in revenue and expense of $16.53 in expenses. Around that 6.5 to 6.75% of our total budget is in this category. Again, in this category, you will see that revenue is less than expense, and many times that has to do with what's called debt service excess. It's an adjustment that is taken back from our proceeds of our levies, which we have to levy 105% of our principal and interest. So overall, our total expenses in the general or the all funds for revenue, $244 million, and $245 million in expense. Again, the major cause for the expense being greater than revenue has to do with the construction fund. So from here on out on the budget, I'll be talking about the general fund since it's the largest portion of our budget. So you can see on this chart that 60% of our funding comes from the state of Minnesota in the form of state aid, and then property tax makes up 34% of our budget. In many school districts, the state aid portion is about 70 to 72%, and then the property tax about 10% less than what we currently have. We're very fortunate in this district to have a very supporting community who has passed operating referendas and capital project referenda. That's the major reason that property tax is a little higher. Then on the other two categories, other and federal, that makes up the other 6% of the revenue sources that we receive. Next, on the general fund expenses, you'll see 71% of our budget is spent on salaries and benefits. And I'm sure that makes sense to most people as we have staff supporting the education programs for our students and taking care of all of their needs for education. Likewise, we have some purchase services, about 16%. Majority of that is coming in the form of transportation. We contract out for our transportation services, but it also includes things like legal costs, our audit, other supply services that we might purchase, including some of our utilities. Supplies and materials make up about 3.4%, capital 9%, and then miscellaneous other just less than 1%. Next, when we look at how do we spend our funds, for 23-24, about 77.22 cents of every dollar goes to support students. So if you look at the bottom where it says 67.17 cents of every dollar is on instruction and instruction support, that's classroom. And then 10.5 cents of every dollar is going on pupil support. So those are like counselors, social workers, individuals that are helping with our students to make sure they're successful in their education. Then on the upper right-hand side, you'll see 16.59 cents is spent on operations and fixed cost. The operations includes buildings and grounds, and it includes our long-term facility maintenance as well. Utilities is included in there as well. Then about 2.7 cents on every dollar is spent on district and school administration. So that would be superintendent's office, it would be all of our principals and the principal's offices as well. And then 3.47 cents on district support, that would be for departments such as communications, finance, HR, all of those others that work in the district office that support the administration process. So next I'm going to be talking about the payable 24 tax levy. So when we look at the final proposed pay levy for 2024, on the left-hand side, you can see that that amount is about $92.3 million. And compare that to last year's of $88.1 million. The change is $4.28 million or 4.87%. And I'll go over some of the reasons for that coming up. But what I want you to know is that the tax base increased by 16.5% in the referendum market value, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but it was 18.9% in the net tax capacity. So, and again, I'll talk about those two in a little bit. So when we look at the payable tax levy for 24, I mentioned earlier those categories on the left, the general fund, community service, and debt service, and compare that to this year to next year, or last year, excuse me. So 72.6 million for the current year for the general fund compared to 69.9 for the previous year, an increase of 2.65 million or 3.8%. On the community service, you'll see that that is about the same, but did decrease just a little bit by about $130,000. Excuse me, and that is due to some adjustments that the state makes for taking back some excess taxes from previous years. And then our debt service, 17.7 million for this year and 15.9 for last year, about a 1.76 million. I'll describe that coming up in the next slide. And then the total of 92.3, which we looked at earlier, compared to 88.09, $4.28 million increase or 4.87% overall increase. So the reasons for the change in the payable 24 levy in the general fund, 2.6 million or 3.8% is mostly attributed to about a $4 million increase in the referenda, operating referenda levy. We had a prior year adjustment in that, about 4.2, and then part of that had to do with the fact that we had more students and we had underestimated previously due to COVID-related issues. So that increased, as well as we have an inflation factor on our operating referenda, and that brought in about 702. And that increase was then offset, then we also had the capital project levy that increased by 1.74 million. And that levy is tied directly to our net tax capacity. The net tax capacity is our total taxes that are applied, or our property values where taxes are applied to them. And so that increased by 18.9%. So the increase we saw was 1.74 million. Then all of those two are then offset by a reduction in our long-term facility maintenance of 8.4 million. 6.3 million of that is a prior year adjustment, which happens when we have projects that are ending or starting at a different time than when the funding comes in. So then the state of Minnesota reduces that. We might also have not had all the projects that we thought would be able to get done occur during that time. And then there was another 1.7 million that the district chose to under levy in LTFM, and it has to do with offsetting a 2023A bond issue, which occurred this fall. And so that leads me into the next one. The debt service increased by 1.7 million, and that was due to that bond issue. But between the debt service and that reduction for the under levy that the district did, that's basically a wash in taxes for our community. Next, this slide is just showing the variation over the time since payable 2015 to the current year of payable 2024. The blue segment of that has to do with general fund. The yellow, our community service, and then the orange at the top is our debt service. And you can see the greatest portion of the increase is in the general fund. It's directly tied to our students, it's tied to our referenda, our capital projects, as well as our long-term facility maintenance. Community education or community service has remained pretty stable over the years. And then the debt service, that can fluctuate based on the debt payments that are required. If we issue new debt, then our principal and interest could go up. Likewise, if we do a refunding bond, that lowers our principal and interest. So some variations in that orange segment of it over time is reflected then in the taxes that we levy. And this is the one that I was talking about earlier. This is looking at our referendum market value. So those properties where we can apply the tax against those individual households or facilities. And there's some properties that are excluded from that. So the referendum market value is a little less than the net tax capacity. And as I described earlier, net tax capacity is the total valuation of the properties based on the type and the formulas that go with it. But an increase of 16.58 in our referendum market value compared to net tax capacity at 18.96%. So property owners probably have seen some increases in the valuation of their property. It also includes some fact that we have built more homes in this area, more commercial and industrial. So we're seeing the changes that are occurring within our community. So based on all of that I've described to you, I've told you what the levy is, I've described to you the referendum market value. Now if we apply that towards our different properties, so now we're looking at residential properties, and on the left-hand side, it says the estimated market value. So maybe if you look at what your property is valued at and you go across, you can see, for instance, let's say a $500,000 home, the payable in 23 was $2,093, and in 24, it's $2,022. It actually decreased. And that's a factor of the fact that our tax capacity has gone up, so the taxes that we are proposing actually are distributed across a broader base and therefore taxes go down. Now, you may say my taxes didn't necessarily go down on my property, but I would also imagine that the valuation went up. And so likewise, that occurs at the same amount. So if they had held the same, they would have actually been shown to go down. We do the same type of exercise with commercial and industrial and apartment buildings, and you can see they too did see a decrease somewhere around that 5%. And again, it's if their value of that property remained the same. So the demonstration here is again to show what the impact is on a home or a property at the same value from year to year. So we talked a little bit about this, but just again to say what causes increases and decreases in levy. Well, one is state law. Legislative changes make that happen. Pupil units or enrollment makes a change. And population, we talked about that as it relates to community education and community services. Our adults impacts an ABD or adult basic education learning, and then under 5 for our earliest learners. And then the market value or tax capacity, which I just described. And then some of our changes in our expenditures can affect our taxes as well. So finally, the proposed payable tax levy for '24, the general fund at $72.6 million, community service at just over $2 million, and our debt service at $7.7 million. So the total levy of $92,385,479.85 is the proposed levy for the board to certify. So at this time, we welcome public comment. Again, as it states on the screen, it must be relevant to the 23-24 tax levy certification. It's Wayzata's portion of the taxes. It does not include the city or county taxes. We have no control over that. And then we ask that the speaker has to be a local taxpayer within District 284, must state their name and address for the record. And just as a reminder, the Hennepin County determines the property valuation. It is not done by the school district. So you would want to contact Hennepin County with any questions you might have. So with that, Madam Chair, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. This is now the moment where we turn it over to audience opportunity to address the board regarding truth in taxation. And I'm saying that there was no indication of anyone that is interested in addressing the board. I will just confirm that from our listening audience. There's no one that is here that is interested in addressing the board regarding truth in taxation. Okay, thank you so much. It's 7:24, and this will conclude our Truth in Taxation hearing. So, just for the listening audience, we had a number of. Thank you, Dee Dee Caring, for your presentation, and thank you to the finance team again for their work on this. For our viewing public, we have a number of recognitions this evening, and so those students are going to now be joining us. And so there's a little bit of a pause in action before we resume our agenda. He needs a chair. Do we need chairs for people to come sit by us? Well, Daniel need a chair. Because we didn't have chairs because it was a stand-up. Daniel's going to come right now to present. Should I have him present at the podium instead? Okay. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for your patience. We will resume our meeting, which took a little pause on the first Monday in December, or on our board meeting in December. We always have our truth and taxation hearing, so that is what was happening. And now we will continue with our agenda as approved at the start of the meeting. And so the next portion of our agenda will be devoted to recognitions, and we are excited to see you all here for a number of recognitions this evening. Yep. So, but first, as always, a report from the Wayzata High School, and so we'll welcome Daniel. Don't think we have chairs, so we'll have you go to the front podium. Thank you.
All right. Hello, my name is Daniel Argento. I'm the Senior Vice President at Wayzata High School, and I'm here to provide my monthly update to the school board about what's happening at Wayzata High School. So I like to start out with athletics. Right now, winter sports are in full swing. We have girls and boys basketball, skiing, and hockey, just to name a few. I want to highlight the basketball. The girls varsity basketball won their home game against Prior Lake last Friday. And the boys varsity basketball team in their home opener beat Maple Grove 74-42. So that was a sweep. I know personally, being on the Wayzata Alpine ski team, I'm hoping for some snow in the near future. In terms of extracurriculars, I know briefly last time I talked about the Adopt a Family fundraiser that Student Council is doing, and we just wrapped that fundraiser up in the month of November. I'm happy to report that we raised over $12,000 for families and children in need in our community. On December 2nd, a few weeks ago, the Student Council used a portion of the fundraised money to go buy gifts such as books, toys, and blankets, and then we went and delivered these gifts to the Children's Hospital. The Student Council and the Wayzata High School Writing Exploration Center have been running a book drive the past week, which ended today. And then these books are being offered to attendees at the Wayzata Central Middle School's Literacy Night, which was this evening. This is a community event that brings in people to really just get people excited about reading and literacy. As we approach winter break, there are a handful of fun activities happening amidst the hecticness. This Friday, December 15th, is Ugly Sweater Day. Wayzata High School students and staff wear their ugliest sweaters that they have in their closets. And that same day is Grab a Candy Cane Day, where the Student Council hands out candy canes to the student body. And we also have Find an Elf Day the same day, which per tradition, we have various staff members dress up in elf costumes. So that always gets a good reaction out of students. Recently, the Wayzata High School Mock Trial A team was victorious at their most recent competition. They won both of their trials. And then the Wayzata High School Orchestra and Choir both had concerts last week, and the band has concerts today and tomorrow. So I definitely encourage any who are able to go and attend the band concerts. And then lastly, I just want to conclude by extending my sincere gratitude toward the school board for their support in upstanding the 4x4 block schedule. I know me personally, my peers, many of us in this room and the community at large are very appreciative of this decision because the block schedule in its essence is a staple to Wayzata High School. So thank you again. Those are all the updates I have.
Thank you, Daniel. Stay there for a second. Board colleagues, any questions or comments? No, well, we'll be hoping for snow for the Alpine and Nordic teams too, and congrats to all of our students for their multiple successes. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the new year.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next recognitions will be of our sports team, so I will join Dr. Anderson at the podium.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chase Anderson. I'm the superintendent for the school district, and I would just like the record to show that I hope all the snow falls on the ski slopes and not on the roads or parking lots around the schools, so that we can be sure to get everybody to school on time. It's always my pleasure to convene this portion of the school board meeting, and we have some really fun recognitions tonight. Some state champions and employee of the month, and a very large group of our student athletes that are here tonight. So thanks for turning out in large form tonight, and congratulations on your incredible accomplishments. So we're going to go in order, I believe, as to what's on our agenda for tonight. And our first state champions are our boys soccer team. Congratulations. I'm just going to read a very short message here on behalf of the team and then turn it over to Coach and perhaps an athlete or two that may want to share a little bit about the season. I'll share the following about our state champ boys soccer team. In a dominant performance, top-seeded Wayzata defeated number 2 Maple Grove 2-0 to capture its second consecutive Class 3A boys soccer state championship. Early goals from Aiden Judakis off corner kicks set the tone for the game, allowing Wayzata to rely on its strong defense to secure the victory. This marks Wayzata's 5th state title and 3rd in the past 6 years, solidifying their position as a powerhouse in Minnesota high school soccer. Congratulations, and I'd like to, yes. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Coach Dominic Duenas. Congratulations, Coach, on another job well done.
Just a couple things before I send it over to my two captains. We always talk about family. This has been a fantastic family this year. Everyone had their part in our success. We had a fantastic manager, fantastic photographer that are with us tonight, fantastic coaches, but most of all, incredible players, both on the field and in the classroom. And when we talk about family, just a little bit about this season. We were at Edina this year. Fun game. Edina's our rival, we all know that, but it was just a regular conference game. We had a player from the 99 team show up with his 3 children. We had a player from he graduated in 99, another player that graduated in 04, and he had his 3.5-year-old there. Another player that graduated in 06, and those 2 were Mr. Soccers. And then we had 2 players that graduated in 19. So we had 4 different teams represented, and we were away at Edina. And that's the family that these players, past, present, and future, have always created for our program. So especially proud of that, the family atmosphere. So I'm going to bring it up to Charlie and Miles, our 2 captains, to say a little bit about the season.
Make it up.
I'm Charlie. It's been a great season with all the boys. We've been playing together since we were super young. It feels amazing to go out like this. So all the players is Miles, Tyler Baker, Alex Crane, Alex Keller, Lassie, Goby, Reed, Judy, Gunnar, Eddie, Thomas, Ahan, Aaron Kabaya, Caleb, Miles, Brett, Ben, Coach Ross, Kate, Vienna, and what is it? I'm blanking. Coach Mianis. I don't really know. What else? Miles.
I mean, we worked hard. I mean, all of our soccer careers. And, the whole season we worked hard, and, hard work pays off. So, I mean, thank you for recognizing us. And, yeah, it's a great season. That's about it.
In front, Lori will take a picture and then stay for parents in case they want to. So, colleagues in the back, others in the front, coaches,
Again, congratulations to our boys soccer team. Fantastic season. Keep up the great work. Our next recognition for yet another state champion team this fall is our girls volleyball team. And we have Scott Jackson, our head coach here tonight, who will introduce the team and or captains or speakers that may want to share a few things as well. Congratulations, girls, on a fantastic season. And it's becoming quite another dynasty with our volleyball program, so you can all be very proud of the work that you did. I'd like to share the following before I turn it over to Coach Jackson. The Wayzata Trojans won the Class 4A Volleyball Championship, defeating New Prague in straight sets. The Trojans displayed exceptional skill and teamwork throughout the season, finishing undefeated with a 34-0 record. It was the fourth straight championship for Wayzata. The win was emotional for the seniors, who expressed their gratitude for the opportunity to play together and their continued support for the program. Congratulations.
Well, thanks very much for the opportunity to be recognized here. These are fantastic young people that I get the opportunity to work with. And like it was said, 34-0. We lost 4 sets each year. That's the game within the match. That was the least lost in Minnesota high school since 2009. This is like a really special competitive team, but they overcame a lot of adversity as well. One of our best players was hurt early in the season, and they just rallied around her, and she rallied around them. We're just really proud of that as well. And just they overcame a lot of obstacles. They had the big target on their chest the whole season. They were number 1 when we started. They were number 1 when we ended. I'm just really proud of the maturity they displayed and how they did it together. They really kind of echo what the boys soccer team was saying. They did it together. I think Bianca won, and she gets to share some thoughts. But let's just real quick, if you guys, Bianca will come up in a moment. You guys just introduce yourself, starting with Bianca down just your first, last name, and what class you're in.
Bianca Nisker, I'm a senior. I'm Olivia Swenson, and I'm a senior. I'm Chloe Black, I'm a senior. I'm Eva Swenson, I'm a sophomore. I'm Eva Swenson, I'm a senior. I'm Riley Kirk, I'm a junior. As Mark, I'm a junior. I'm Olivia Lyon, I'm a junior. I'm Ryan Lyon, I'm a senior.
All right, I just wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to acknowledge this amazing team tonight. It means a lot, and I'm so proud of what we were able to accomplish this year. I think it's also important to thank our incredible coaches and parents for supporting us through and through. We couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you to the school board for creating such a wonderful support system and promoting a positive environment at the high school that allows us to be the best students and athletes possible. Thank you.
They're good at knocking down. Better get up.
Moving on to team number 3. Again, congratulations to our volleyball athletes, and thanks for being here tonight. Our next state champions that we're recognizing tonight is for our girls cross country team. I'd like to share the following on their behalf, and then I'll introduce the coach, and we can get further introductions. Thank you so much for being here. The Wayzata girls cross country team added another chapter to their remarkable story, capturing their second consecutive Class 3A state championship title at the Minnesota State High School League meet. Led by Jasleen Mahalik Osorio, with her individual third place finish, clocking a personal best of 18 minutes. The Trojans secured the team victory with a dominant score of 48. The triumph solidifies their position as one of the most powerful forces in Minnesota high school cross country, demonstrating impressive consistency and athletic prowess. With us tonight, we have Kelsey Beach to speak about the team and introduce any of the athletes who may want to say a few things. And at this time, I'll turn it over to you. Congratulations.
Good evening. Thanks all for having us. It's so fun to be here and recognizing this amazing group of young women. They were a great example of when opportunity presents itself, stepping up and filling in the gaps. We graduated four seniors last year that all are running at the collegiate level. So we had some big shoes to fill, literally, and they did it in a really beautiful way. Our theme this year was TTE, Total Team Effort, and so this team was all about running for each other and running together and also taking care of each other off the race course as well. I liked how the volleyball coach had you all introduce yourself, so just a quick your name and your grade. Yeah, they were a wonderful, wonderful group to coach. They showed up with a lot of grit and just working really hard consistently every day and in the off season and having a lot of fun doing it. So I think Jasleen, our third place state meet finisher, wants to give a couple words, and then Lulu, our senior.
Hi, as Kelsey said, my name is Jasleen Malherrick, and coming into the season, I knew it was going to be hard to kind of fill the shoes of the 4 top senior girls who led the team last year and also losing our top projected runner this year. But even with that, these girls woke up every single day, even on the days they didn't want to, and showed up to practice and ran with all their hearts. And there were so many memories and smiles and laughs that happened throughout the season. There was also some tears, and there was a lot of pain endured. But through all of that, we worked so well together, and we ended up getting to state and finishing first as a team, and we even made it to regionals, getting first as a team again, and it was just insane. And we even booked our ticket to Portland to go to nationals, and that was such an amazing opportunity to get with these beautiful, strong women. So I just want to say I'm super proud of each and every one of you, and it's been a blast having the opportunity to run with you guys this season.
I'm Lulu Knight. As a returning senior, it was super fun getting to this season, and it definitely exceeded my expectations, having kind of like a new team and building from the bottom up, especially having our new coach, Kelsey. And like she just reinforced what a team should be and how we should all be there for each other no matter what. So I think this team and the season was something special. Thank you for recognizing us.
And our fourth and final state champion, I think it's final unless we had another team win one since we started the meeting. Could have happened, we don't know. Is our boys cross-country state champion team is here tonight as well. Before I introduce Coach Mark Pop, I will share the following and then turn it over to Coach. The Wayzata boys cross-country team dominated the Minnesota State High School League state championship, claiming their third straight Class AAA state title in a historic feat for the program. Will Weber led the Trojans with a third-place finish and a time of 15 minutes, 21 seconds, contributing to their team score of 63. The victory marks an incredible display of dedication and talent for the team, solidifying their place as a cross-country powerhouse. Congratulations to all of you, and I'll turn it over to Coach Pop. Thank you.
I guess like those other teams, we'll introduce ourselves real quick. Alex, start us off. And then that's Coach Eric Yan standing by them as well, who's been with the program for longer than me. So I don't know, hard to keep track sometimes. But this is a really good group. As they're kind of going down the line, you can hear that they are all juniors and seniors standing up here. Our 8th and 9th men who were our alternates for the section of the state meet actually ran at sections and then were alternates once again at state, but they were juniors as well. So it's a really, really experienced team. They've kind of been through it all as far as our training goes, as far as our racing goes. And so we got to lean on that during the season. I think they were probably a little worried at the end of September, just in terms of where our season was and how things looked for us at the state level, and then how things looked for them once they turned into Wayzata Cross Country Club at the regional and potentially national level. But again, being an experienced group, they were able to kind of trust in themselves and trust in their training and trust in the process that we go through every single year. So we didn't have to do anything ridiculous. We didn't have to run harder than we could run. We didn't have to train harder than was smart to train. They just kept showing up. They kept their heads on straight. And by the end of the year, they completed a season where we didn't lose to another Minnesota team. They went to the regional meet as a club and they defied expectations there. They really put together a string of 4 or 5 races in a row that were just phenomenal. And I think there's probably some doubt in people's minds at the end of September whether or not they'd even be state champions. Maybe not in our minds, but I think in other people's minds. And they just slammed the door on people come November. So that was really fun to watch. It's been a pleasure to coach these guys all the way through for, we're at 3 or 4 years with them. And we've seen them kind of grow and develop the attributes that are going to make them really successful humans. And we're so proud that they're part of our program. And guys should be definitely proud of the kids that they are and the families that they come from, just that they're part of our district. It's a really special thing. So I think we'll see if Parker and Tyler are as good at public speaking as they are at running.
So as Pop mentioned, I'm Parker Dietrich. I'm a senior. And I just want to talk about today how our team really overcame adversity in multiple different points and multiple different races. Throughout a conference meet and our section meet, we both had guys, key players in our top 7 that had to sit out due to injury or sickness. And then that came along even into the national meet when we had a runner develop appendicitis and we only could race 6. And really, a lot of these boys stepped up and kind of put it on the line and really did what they needed to do and got the work done. And so I'm just so proud of you guys in terms of what we got done this season.
Tyler Kissel again. I'm a senior. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of reiterate what Parker said. I'm very proud of this team. Grown up with these boys since 9th grade. Had some setbacks at the start, but I mean, it's like, what can you do? But yeah, grew with that. We made it to state, like middle of the year. We always have like certain setbacks that we see. It was GRIAC this year. I got sick. The team was kind of not looking great, but we came back from it. We bounced back. We made sure to train extra hard, work together as a team. And yeah, we made it to nationals. Unfortunately, again, I kind of couldn't race because of appendicitis, which was very unlucky. But yeah, that sucked. But we did good. We came back. It was great. I'm very thankful for these guys, and I want to say thank you.
Well, before we move on to our next recognition, again, just want to thank all of our student athletes that are here tonight. And, it's really a unique experience to win a state championship. I was reflecting a little bit here, sadly, I suppose, and when I look at my 4 years in high school, I think our high school won a cumulative total of 0 state championships. And here in Wayzata, we can recognize 4 after one sports season at a single board meeting. And it's just incredible. It's a testimonial to our coaches and the great work and leadership of our student captains and all of you as parents and coaches and spouses of coaches and those that really help support everything that happens. So we just appreciate everything that everyone does, and what a great honor to recognize all of our student athletes here tonight, and keep up the great work. We're it's a very enviable and admirable set of circumstances that we just observed. Equally as proud as we are of our student athletes, our coaches, and all of our families, we're very proud of our staff members, and we're recognizing an Employee of the Month tonight. And I would like to invite John Raby to please come forward. Come on down. John, congratulations. John is our Employee of the Month, and I'm going to read a brief script here on his behalf that was submitted in his honor. And then we're going to give, I don't know if John knew he had an opportunity to speak at the mic, but you're going to get your chance here in just a minute. Gleason Lake Elementary is proud to recommend John Raby as Wayzata's Employee of the Month. John has been with the district for almost 2 years and came to Gleason Lake in the spring of 2023 to be our daytime head custodian. John brings leadership, precision, and a sense of humor to this important position. John is an encouraging leader who spends time building positive relationships with staff and students. He approaches each day with an I can do attitude. Staff members shared the following. John goes above and beyond every day to make sure that Gleason Lake is clean, safe, organized, and he solves problems all day long. John always shows up with a smile and a positive attitude. He is a pleasure to work with. All day long, John responds to our office walkie calls, and we are so appreciative of his patience and responsiveness. He is always willing to go the extra mile and remain focused on how he can best support our school's needs. John provides excellent leadership for our custodial team by creating a collaborative environment, listening to feedback, and providing ongoing support. The entire Gleason Lake community benefits from his perseverance and teamwork approach. John is very deserving of this recognition, and we congratulate him as the Wayzata Public Schools Employee of the Month. John, congratulations.
I noticed a student athlete pull out her phone to read, and I was thinking to myself, I'd have to scroll every word. So I'm pulling out a piece of paper. And no, I've not had an appendicitis either, so we're good there too. I'd like to thank the superintendent and the board for this honor. It does mean a lot. My name is on the plaque, but it really is an award that should go to the entire custodial staff. Sorry, I'm getting emotional here. It's total staff at Gleason Lake. Without their dedication and hard work, I know I would not be standing here tonight. Unfortunately, they cannot be here tonight because they are in the building getting ready for school tomorrow. I also need to thank all the building staff. They have been so welcoming and supportive for me since I joined last April. The trust and open communication has made it truly a pleasure to work there. Thank you.
Can you scoot over just a little so we don't get the corner?
Okay, like that.
Get you on the wall.
Here we go.
Awesome. Congratulations. 1, 2, 3. Just step back a little bit more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our recognitions portion of the program tonight. Of course, attendees are always more than welcome to stay, but if you were here for the recognition part of the program, now is a great time to make a graceful exit or stay and see a wonderful presentation from our Gleason Lake community. So at this time, I will turn it back over to Madam Chair. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. There are multiple highlights in a board meeting. One is our student recognitions, and the second is our student spotlight. And we are excited that our friends from Gleason Lake Elementary are here to join us this evening. And so we'll turn it over to Dana Miller, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, to introduce Principal Mackesy and tell us all about your students.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Anderson, members of the board. This too is always my highlight of the month. And tonight we have Gleason Lake here tonight, and they are sharing an innovative concept called Unified Physical Education. This model aims to create an inclusive and supportive environment where students of diverse abilities, backgrounds, and interests can engage in physical activities together. By fostering collaboration and understanding, a unified physical education class not only promotes our overall health of our students, but also cultivates a sense of community and shared achievement. Principal Mary Mackesy is with us tonight, and her team is here along with some students, and they're going to be sharing the benefits of this approach as well as potential it holds for promoting inclusivity, breaking down barriers, and creating a more holistic educational experience for all of our students. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Mary Mackesy and her team tonight. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm excited to present Gleason Lake Spotlight, which is Unified Physical Education. Taryn Adams is our developmental adaptive physical education teacher, and she also works in 4 buildings. We are fortunate that last year she was instrumental in designing, developing, and implementing unified physical education at Gleason Lake. Over the past years, we have focused on our student experience, and each year we ask our students to respond to several questions. One important question is, I learned how to get along with people who are different than me. Our Unified PE program has provided an opportunity for approximately 50 fifth grade students to work together and create an inclusive community. Now, Ms. Adams and our 5th grade students will share about the intentional work they are doing here at Gleason Lake.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to introduce to you our unified program at Gleason Lake Elementary School and how we are becoming a unified champion school through Special Olympics in the state of Minnesota. Wayzata High School has been a unified champion school for many years now. They have unified sports, unified clubs, unified classes, and many other opportunities for students of all ability levels. Our Wayzata Special Education team has made a goal to expand these opportunities across all grade levels, kindergarten through 12th grade. Our developmental adapted physical education team is working on providing unified physical education to all students, including at the elementary and middle school levels. It's amazing to see how much this program is already growing and thriving in just the 2 years that I have been here. Today, I have 4 amazing 5th graders and a 2nd grader from Gleason Lake who participate in Unified PE. These students are incredible leaders who volunteer their time to work with our younger students who have disabilities. We have Ben, Vedatri, Grayson, McKenna, and Madison with us tonight. They're going to share some information about unified physical education, our program, and how we are showing inclusion at Gleason Lake. I'll let them take it away.
Hi, my name is Ben. Unified PE is a program where students with and without disabilities come together in a physical education class.
Hi, my name is Viachi. Unified PE has partners and teammates. The 5th grade students are partners. The partners fill out an application if they would like to be a part of this program. We are paired with a teammate. Teammates are the students who have disabilities and need to improve their large motor skills.
Hi, my name is Grayson. Unified PE happens during our school day and is a physical education class. Partners are divided into 2 groups. Vedatri, McKenna, and I are in the gold group. Ben is in the blue group. Each group comes to Unified PE every other week. Teammates come to Unified PE every week, and they rotate working with students in the gold and blue groups.
Hi, my name is McKenna. Unified PE is important because partners and teammates work together to improve our physical, cognitive, and emotional skills.
In Unified PE, we follow a very similar structure to a general physical education class. We start with a warm-up, participate in a variety of activities, and end class with a Trojan Pride shout-out. While the activities are important to help improve our large motor skills, the Trojan Pride shoutout is just as important to help build those friendships and those connections between our students. We ask students to give a shout out and say a student, what they did, if they showed community, commitment, curiosity, or compassion, the 4 C's. It's a chance for students to celebrate each other's accomplishments and create those friendships. In this picture, you can see students sitting in a circle with their group to listen to directions. We start and end class in this circle where we provide directions, and then we give that Trojan Pride shout out at the end of class. In the next photo, you see students participating in a variety of different station activities.
In the first picture, you can see students work on spatial awareness by weaving through cones on scooters. In the second picture, you can see students work on their tossing and catching skills with scarves.
In this picture, you can see students working on jumping and landing over hurdles. In the other picture, you can see students working on underhand throwing and rolling to knock over bowling pins.
For almost 2 decades, Special Olympics has partnered with schools and collected data. As you can see, we need to see more inclusion in schools. Our school became a unified champion school this year in 2023.
Through Unified, our students with and without intellectual disabilities interact socially and develop mutual beneficial friendships.
Through Unified, students with and without disabilities hold more positive attitudes toward one another and demonstrate greater understanding and acceptance of each other.
The statistics that you can see from the article to Build Back Better, Build Back Inclusive. These statistics were taken from schools all over the United States across many grade levels.
In order to become a unified champion school, the school needs to demonstrate 3 pillars. These pillars are inclusive student leadership, unified sports and activities, and whole school engagement. We would like to share with you how our school participates in each of the 3 pillars.
Inclusive student leadership allows students to have a say in the activities and events that we put on. We will create a student board of directors that will plan inclusive activities in our school.
We participate in unified sports and activities through Unified PE.
We participate in whole school engagement through fundraising events, volunteering opportunities, and social inclusion campaigns. We celebrated Inclusive Schools Week at our school last week. Staff and students participated in classroom activities to promote inclusion.
Although we do not officially have all 3 pillars put in place, we are still recognized as a unified champion school through Special Olympics Minnesota. And we have a banner that we are hanging up in our gym, hopefully by John, sometime later this week.
Some benefits of having unified PE and being a unified champion school are that it reduces bullying and exclusion, it promotes inclusive friendships, and helps overturn negative attitudes towards disabilities.
Unified PE also helps decrease hurtful language in schools and the community, helps develop student leadership skills, and creates community of care and respect. My sister is also in Unified PE and she really enjoys it.
So as we shared, the week of December 4th through the 8th was Inclusive Schools Week. This was an intentional time for us to learn about, reflect upon, and discuss and celebrate practices that further improve the goal of successfully educating all children in an inclusive environment. These are some of the books that the teachers have had an opportunity to select from and share with our students. We also offered a few prompts, such as I feel included when, and developing why charts where students have an opportunity to tell what an inclusive classroom sounds like, looks like, and feels like. We know that one of the most important basic needs is to create a sense of belonging for all of our students. Now, I've had an opportunity to attend a few of the Unified PE classes. And a few weeks ago, our fifth grade partners and teammates, when they were finished with the session, Ms. Adams asked them to share one word that comes to mind when they think about Unified PE. And here's what the students shared, which is up there on the screen. To me, this is inspirational and very heartwarming. I feel fortunate to be part of a school that has brought Unified PE forward. It's truly an empowering program that our students are excited to be part of. And to you, Ms. Adams, you have done an amazing job of coordinating and facilitating all of these activities. And I'm very proud of our fifth grade students for the work they have done and for the preparation they've done here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you all. We would like to now open up questions if any of the board members have any questions that we can help answer. So,
Right. Well, thank you, Ms. Adams, and thank you, Principal Maxey, and thank you to our fifth graders and our second grader. I think that this sounds like, feels like, and looks like pretty darn awesome. So thank you so much. I'm sure my board colleagues have questions or comments. Linda.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I mean, it just sounds astounding and a wonderful program. And thank you, kids, for coming and telling us all about it. And really something to be very proud of.
thank you so much. We really appreciate it. They're awesome.
Mayland.
I am at a loss for words here. Feel very, very fortunate to be part of a school district that values inclusion. And all I can say is bravo, thank you, and hope your program grows and flourishes.
Thank you so much. That means the world.
Benita.
Yep, it's almost ditto. It just fills your heart with just a lot. So I really appreciate students, you sharing your voices. I appreciate you being brave enough to share your voices, and that you help create safe spaces so all can feel included. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Heidi.
I just want to add on to everything that my board colleagues have already said. Students, you guys did an amazing job presenting tonight. I know that was a lot of work, and I know that it takes a lot of bravery to come and speak tonight. So thank you so much for coming to us.
Sheila.
Yeah, I would just like to echo that. Thank you guys. You did a great job. Would any of you be willing to tell me what your favorite activity that you've done over the year is?
Oh my gosh, I prepared them. I said they might ask you that exact question. Would anybody like to share?
Last week when I came to Unified PE, we did a activity where we put scarves on a fan and we shot them into the air, and the kids with disabilities loved it and they felt amazing.
And to add on to that, John brought the fans. Go, John.
One of my favorite activities was doing warm-ups every class. We got to interact with our teammates and just have fun. And I thought it really helped get time with my teammate. So I thought that was really nice.
My favorite part that I've done in Unified PE so far is probably getting to teach my partner how to bowl, with just getting to see how excited he gets to do it, and it made me feel happy.
Any other questions or comments that you guys have for us?
Well, I might have one more because, and this might be a hard question, but you guys spoke our language when you talked about being on a board of directors. And so what do you do on your board of directors? And do you have any tips for us?
Yes, that's a great question. It's very very advanced, just kidding. So we are working on gathering these fifth grade students, or this is my goal after our winter break, to gather these students, see what leaders would like to plan inclusive activities throughout our school, kind of like student council, where we come up with different spirit days or just different activities that we can promote inclusion throughout the year and not just Inclusive Schools Week. Maybe we have some of these fifth graders go to our classes and they read one of those books that talks about inclusion. Just something that we can help promote this throughout the rest of the year and not just focus on that 1 week. So we are working towards implementing that, but we also have a unified board of directors through Wyzetta, through our special education team, that we are talking about all of those unified opportunities, talking about unified music, implementing more unified PE, and a bunch of things. So a lot of great things are coming, and we're really excited to see what comes of this.
Right. Well, thank you so much. This is really incredible. Students, thank you for coming out on a cold school night, and we know it's getting kind of late, so we appreciate it. Keep up the good work, and we'll be eager to hear what you do throughout the rest of the year. Thanks so much. Okay. Thank you again to all the parents and audience members that joined us this evening. And if there are still some people in the audience, which I think they are, the next item on our agenda will be the audience opportunity to address the board. And so as we transition our room for just a minute, we'll let our students get out, and then I see that I have a couple of sheets for people that would like to come speak to us. If you are here to address the school board this evening and you have not filled out an audience opportunity to address the board form, they can be found out at the back table, and you can give it to Amy, who can bring it to us. So, now that we've made that announcement, I will remind you that that this portion of the agenda is meant for the board to listen to the comments of our community members. You'll have approximately 3 minutes or so, or we ask you to keep your comments to about 3 minutes to address the board and to share your thoughts. The board does not engage in any conversation with our speakers, but instead we are here to listen. And if you've included your contact information, that a member of the administration or the board will get back to you after the meeting. For this portion of the agenda, unlike the truth and taxation, you can just state your name. You don't have to state your address. So our first person will be Mark. If you want to come on up and join us at the microphones. Thank you for being here.
Okay, like John, I got to get my paper and my reading glasses. What I wanted to address the board on is that the Birchwood neighborhood, which is on the north edge of Wyzetta Central Middle School, is having street reconstruction done by the city. The proposal plans changed a few weeks ago to now show a mature forest ecosystem on the school property, proposed as clear-cut and bulldozed to put in a holding pond for the stormwater from the neighborhood. I was told that removing this forest area depends upon the school district voting to approve the destruction of this mature wooded ecosystem to increase the easement. I'm trying to bring the concern to the city and to the school board as to why you would want this proposal to remove this wooded environment of mature trees to bulldoze in a man-made holding pond. There's a natural low area in the middle of this 3.5-acre forest that has successfully held and filtered stormwater from this area for the past 70 years. The first plan that was presented in March of this year, which is the cover, the first page, instead planned for all stormwater to empty in the same locations in the past 70 years. The low area on the school property has successfully been doing this for 70 years. This natural low area, as I said, is surrounded by 3.5 acres of mature wooded environment. The forest area has an extensive population of animals, deer, fox, owls, and is a thriving, successful ecosystem. The low area is landlocked by that forest and is 300 feet away from the marsh. Stormwater would have to filter 300 feet sideways through soil to make it to the marsh and through all the mature trees that have soaked the water up. The U.S. Forest Service and the Minnesota DNR website has many facts on their website that a forest environment is critical to filtering and cleaning the water. One of them is that a 100-foot tree soaks up over 11,000 gallons of water every growing season. So it was shocking to me to see this new plan come out a couple of weeks ago that called for removing this wooded area and bulldozing in a holding pond. This would remove the very trees that act as a natural filter and a sponge to soak up thousands and thousands of gallons of water from the neighborhood and also from the sports field, which is right next to this. Removing all of these trees removes the very mechanisms that helps soak up and dry out the area, the football field, used by soccer and football teams. There are not regulations requiring a man-made holding pond to handle the stormwater. The other two stormwater points from the neighborhood has one directly emptying into a 1.5 acre pond and the other directly going into Lake Gleason. Neither one of those are great, but this one is much better as it's done by nature. The street construction done last year of 13th Avenue, which is just to the north, and of Gleason Lake Road this summer, just to the south of the school, both have multiple stormwater areas going directly into wetland areas and directly into Gleason Lake. These other reconstruction projects did not build large holding ponds for filtering and certainly didn't destroy mature woods or the ecosystem that soak up the water and filter. So the concern I just am bringing to the school board is when it comes up, or if it comes up to you to approve a plan to destroy over 2,000 square yards of mature trees at Central Middle School that filters and soaks up the water to bulldoze in a man-made pond, I'm just asking that I've spoke with the design firm about this plan, and so far it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm hoping that when it comes up for you, that some of that things that you're aware of and see if it makes sense to you. Thank you.
The follow-up would come from our administration.
Excellent.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. And our next audience member to address the school board is John Morose. Why don't you come on up?
Madam Chair, Superintendent Anderson, members of the board. First, I have to say this is really interesting. I actually started going to the other building and remembered that we recently moved here, but it's a great pleasure and honor. I'm here tonight. Well, let me first congratulate all the new board members. Thank you for your service. I know all the new board members are here. Benita, thank you as well for your service. It is much appreciated. But in particular, I'm here to honor two people. I want to honor and recognize Cheryl Polzine and Dr. Linda Cohn. I had the great pleasure and honor to serve with them on this board many years ago. I was trying to remember, I think 2009, was that your first, when you were first elected to the board? 2007, yes. 2011, sorry. So we had a chance to serve together. It was my great honor and pleasure, and I enjoyed my time. And I know on behalf of myself, and I can speak for the community, I want to thank you for everything you've done for the district, and I really appreciate it. And Linda Cohn as well, you and I served for, I think it was, well, my 9 years. I joined the board in 2004, and I know you served for a number of years before that. And I just want the community in particular to know and understand what a great asset she has been to this community. A lot of people don't know that, and I don't remember exactly when you were first elected, but in the mid-90s and in the early 90s, this district was in a lot of trouble. We were in statutory operating debt. We were talking about building a new high school. There was just a lot of things going on. And Linda joined the board and was a very instrumental person in helping the district to really become what it is today. And so I just wanted to take this time to honor both of you, and on behalf of my family and the community, thank you for all your service and thank you for everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Okay. Any other audience opportunities to address the board? Okay. Thank you. All right. Next on our agenda, we will move back to a number of finance and operations reports. We have no additional superintendent or teaching and learning reports, and so I will turn it over to Dee Dee Caring, our executive of finance and operations, to continue with some of the things that we were talking about earlier today. Thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson. Monthly, we provide a finance report to you. The report has been reviewed by the Finance Committee of the board, but just want to go over a couple of highlights regarding that. So on revenue, state aids and property taxes, we're on par with our state aids and property taxes through October 2023. Our community education is doing well, and their revenues are up slightly. And we feel like we're getting right back into that past the COVID times, and that things are going smoothly for community education. Food service, as we mentioned, has a little bit of an outlier on it relates to its revenue, and that's due to a switch from how the meals were reported before, now that we're under the free meal program. So there's a bit of a delay in getting the revenue for that. It doesn't mean that we'll be out any money, it just takes a little while for that to come. It'll all be reconciled in the end. And then on the expenditure side, salary and benefits, these are on track overall. And we'll be working towards revising the budget for staff and their benefits, as well as other areas of the budget. So we'll see that happen sometime in the January, February timeframe. And then the one unique thing is purchase services on the expense side. There's, again, a little bit of an outlier, and that's due to more LTFM or long-term facility maintenance projects being completed. And so there's just been a little busy in that buildings and grounds department. So that's the majority of the report. Again, that was for October 31 of 2023. As we get further into the year, the reports become a little more meaningful because we'll have more reference to the previous year as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Board colleagues, there's no action related to this agenda item, but if there are any questions or comments. Thanks to the Finance Committee for digging deeper into those reports and staying updated. Okay, moving on.
Thank you. Next on the agenda for the finance team is to review the 2023 audit report. The district's annual audit report ending in June 30, 2023 has been completed by the audit firm of MMKR. It was reviewed at the December 4th work session a week ago, and also reviewed with the Finance Committee of the board. So the following reports have been issued. They are the annual comprehensive financial report, the management report, the special purpose audit reports on single audit, internal controls, compliance with laws and regulations. A portion of the general fund budget is assigned for specific purposes and is approved by the school board on an annual basis. The assigned fund balances as of June 30th, 2023 were as follows. And there's a list of those for you. LCTS, reemployment, site carryover, QComp, school opening costs, workers' compensation, escrow, post-employment obligations, and an enrollment for a total of $8 million. If you're wondering how that compares to last year we had a number of closer to $11 million. So down a little bit, but that's due to a fund balance that's set aside on the assigned for a subsequent year. Those of you on the Finance Committee will remember it's about $3.3 million when we have a budget planned that is not a balanced budget. We must set aside funds in an unassigned or at assigned. This year we had a budget, a balanced budget, so we didn't have to do that. So good news in that end. So again, the financial reports were provided to you via the board book. They will be placed on the district's website tomorrow if approved. And so at this time, I'll turn it over to Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 Further, to approve the June 30th, 2023 assigned fund balance in the amount of $8,002,652 to be used for the specific purposes noted above. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Cheryl and seconded by Milland. And is there any questions or discussion? Cheryl.
I just wanted to say thank you to the finance team for getting through the audit. And with the small corrective action plan, it's all in place and ready to go. So thank you very much for all of those things. It's all in order.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other questions, I will invite our listening audience, if you want to hear some of the questions and conversations that we had when our auditor from MMKR was here last Monday, that video can be found on YouTube on the district handle. I will once again underscore a deep appreciation and thanks to Dee Dee and the entire financial team. You are a small and mighty group that had quite a task this year, and we so appreciate your attention to detail and your stewardship on behalf of our taxpayers in our district. So thank you so much. And again, all of our documents can be found also in the board book as well as on the district website tomorrow, pending board approval this evening. Hearing no other questions, it's a roll call vote for the recommended action.
Bonita Lucky? Yes. Cheryl Posey?
Yes.
Milan Sahoni?
Yes.
Linda Cohen?
Yes.
Sheila Pryor?
Yes.
Heidi Cater?
Yes.
Sarah Johansson?
Yes. Okay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The final item on the finance recommendations is the certification of the 2023 payable 2024 property tax levy. Presentation was held earlier tonight. So the district recommends the certification of the tax levy in the amount of $92,385,479.85. As we mentioned earlier, it represents a 4.29 million or 4.87 increase in the payable from the payable 23 levy, while the district tax property is growing by that 18.9%. Levy amounts by fund were presented earlier, as I mentioned, and are listed on the agenda sheet before each of you board members. So with that, Madam Chair, the administration is asking the board to approve the 2023 payable 2024 tax levy.
Okay, thank you so much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve and certify the maximum allowable levy amount of $92,385,479.85 and authorize the board clerk to sign the attached final 2023 payable 2024 levy for Independent School District 284. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
It's been moved by Milland and seconded by Linda. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, it's a roll call vote.
Milan Sahoni?
Yes.
Linda Cohen?
Yes.
Sheila Pryor?
Yes.
Heidi Cater?
Yes.
Bonita Lucky? Yes. Cheryl Posey?
Yes.
Sarah Johansson?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. This concludes the items under the finance and operations portion of our agenda. We have no human resource services items this evening. Well, we'll have one coming later on, but we don't have any now. So now we're going to move on to some other board action. The first item does not require board action, but is an update for the public. And I will turn it over to Bonita Lucky, who's the chair of the Superintendent Evaluation Committee, to give a report on the superintendent evaluation.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. It is my pleasure to give an overview of the process of the Superintendent Evaluation Committee and then give an overview of the results of that performance. So each year, the process for evaluating the performance is to set goals with the superintendent, and then there are quarterly check-ins that will be provided in part of that process. Then there's a mid-year conversation, and at this mid-year conversation, it's important to connect with the superintendent to ensure that the goals that are set are still on track if there are any changes that need to happen to ensure that you're having some dialogue at that time. And then there's the year-end review itself. So I am going to read the results of the performance. Wayzata 2023 year-end superintendent evaluation. On Wednesday, September 27th, 2023, the Wayzata Public School District School Board went into closed session pursuant to Minnesota State Session 13D.05, Subdivision 3A, to evaluate the performance of Superintendent Dr. Anderson. Superintendent Anderson's annual performance evaluation was for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. The review was based on board members' input of 8 questions to provide feedback to Superintendent Anderson on his performance on behalf of the district. Feedback and discussion were organized into 4 areas: district strength, district challenges, Dr. Anderson's strength, Dr. Anderson's professional growth opportunities. This year's evaluation process brought forth overwhelmingly positive feedback on Dr. Anderson's performance. Despite difficult funding circumstances, Dr. Anderson met all expectations. The board's evaluation highlights Dr. Anderson's continued dedication and commitment to the long-term success of the district and considerations of each and every student. Regarding district strengths, the board believes that Dr. Anderson continues Wayzata's long legacy of high student achievement on track by implementing and encouraging the use of the strategic roadmap and equity commitment to guide decisions district-wide. Both these documents were brought to life through the district's implementation of BUILT, which focuses heavy on the student experience, sense of belonging, academic achievement, and striving towards reducing the achievement gap. Other evidence of the district's strengths include a focus on quality first-time instruction for all students, a return to pre-pandemic enrollment, efficiency within our systems, maintaining fiscal responsibility, striving for student belonging and rigorous academics, and encouraging educational leaders, the ability to move towards big thinking to allow for the big work that is needed to move the needle forward to each and every student. In discussing Dr. Anderson's strengths, some of the many professional skills that benefit the district include being an extremely competent educator, maintaining a commitment to continuous learning and improvement, a commitment to open, honest, and responsive communication, open-minded listening, exercising wisdom and integrity in decision-making, adept at navigating challenges, hiring and retaining excellent staff, the ability to manage the changes in the growth of the district, exemplary interpersonal skills, authenticity, unparalleled work ethic. The school board has a high degree of confidence in Dr. Anderson's leadership and acknowledges Dr. Anderson's 15 years and counting in Wayzata and 40 years of experience in education. The board has encouraged Dr. Anderson to consider the following potential goal areas for 2023-24 when developing his performance goals. As there will be significant growth and changes in the coming years, continue building community trust and advocate for the district with our local legislators, community engagement, developing and learning from strategic partnerships. Continue to support, grow, and develop the SLT. This should include continuing to define and work on efficient and effective balance of the SLT. With upcoming changes to the middle and high school models, teachers will be challenged to learn new skills and approaches. Continuing to support, retain, and build morale of the teaching staff of all seniority levels. Academic excellence for each and every student. Continue to enable excellence for each and every student. support implementation of the ongoing built work with a continued focus on reducing the academic opportunity gaps and in alignment with building goals. The board recognizes the outstanding expertise Dr. Anderson brings to the district and would like him to continue to work to implement innovative educational platforms and deliver opportunities. Dr. Anderson has hired an effective SLT team and will need to continue to work on cohesion. As the district continues to grow and face both normative and new challenges, he will need to lead and support the SLT in a dedicated focus on long-term planning. Additionally, the board encourages Dr. Anderson to provide leadership, direction, and focus on continuous improvement that impact the strategic directions and visions of the district, to include health and well-being, district equity commitment, educational innovation, and excellence. In summary, the school board continues to value and appreciate the experience, unique skills, and genuine dedication Dr. Anderson brings to the Wayzata Public School. The board looks forward to another successful school year and remains committed to partnering with Dr. Anderson to achieve our mission, vision, and strength directions as defined by the strategic roadmap and equity commitment. Well done, Dr. Anderson, on your performance, and congratulations. I would also like to take a moment to truly thank the committee. It was an exciting time to work with Linda Cohen and Heidi Cater on the committee for the superintendent evaluation. So again, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to Benita for chairing the committee and for your leadership. It's not just reading the report at the end, but as you indicated, there's lots of work that happens throughout the year from the time of the first to the last. So thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Linda. And thank you to Benita. Okay. Moving on. We have also the superintendent contract, and this does require board action. And to present some of the recommended changes and proposals, I will turn it over to Stacy Voss.
Good evening, members of the board, Madam Chair. I believe that Benita was actually going to share the details on that this evening, but I can certainly.
No, I'm sorry. I was just reading the agenda sheet and it had your name on it. So I was thinking that too. We'll turn it back over to Benita. So sorry for that.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Happy to share some of the details. So the following changes are being recommended to the 2024-2025 superintendent contract. The contract is for the period of 1 year, 2024 through 2025. All dates within the contract are updated to reflect the 2024 and 2025 dates. Vacation days were increased from 28 to 30. This change was made after a study of superintendent contracts. Sick leave was increased from 16 to 20. This change was made as a result of a study of superintendent contracts. It is important to take a look at other contracts periodically to ensure our superintendent's contract is in alignment with his colleagues. In Article 4, Section 6, language was added regarding the continuation of health insurance with his spouse. This language does not change the current contract language, but make it more clear. Section 5 of Article 7 was removed, which was professional supplement. Salary increase of 2%. Article 8, Section 2, longevity. We moved $1,000 from Article 7, Section 5 to longevity and added $1,000 for a total of a $4,000 longevity stipend. Article 9, Section 4A, 4B, and 4C. Article 4, Section 6 is reference clarifying spousal health insurance.
Okay, Thank you so much. Board colleagues, the recommended action is to approve the 2024-2025 superintendent contract as recommended. Is there a motion to that effect?
I so move.
I'll second.
Been moved by Linda and seconded by Cheryl. And is there any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, it's a roll call vote.
Sheila Pryor.
Yes.
Heidi Cater.
Yes.
Bonita Lucky. Yes. Cheryl Posini.
Yes.
Milan Sahoni.
Yes.
Linda Cohen.
Yes.
Sarah Johansson.
Yes. Motion carries. All right. Thank you. Mm-hmm. You can.
Well, first of all, board, thank you so much. I'd like to thank you for that vote. I appreciate that and a vote of confidence to continue my work in this role. I think it was 16 years ago this month when I was in the throes in the middle of the interview process, and you heard John Morose speak earlier tonight, and he and Linda were on the team of 7 board members that hired me in some combination of chair and vice chair. And it's really hard to believe because I can envision that whole process so clearly to this day, and that far back and all of those years have unfolded. But it's just really been a very rewarding, great 16 years, and I appreciate Linda that you helped hire me, and John, who's not here any longer, but the same for him and his board colleagues that were here at the time. It's just been an incredible experience during that time. My son and daughter both graduated from Wayzata High School and have gone off, as I oftentimes say, to become productive tax-paying citizens. So Wayzata gave them a good launch into that, and I just really appreciate that. And in regard to the previous agenda item, in regard to the evaluation, thank you, Benita, and to the team members that provided that feedback. I would like to divert and share that with 5 of my team members that are here, 6 with Amy as well, a new addition to our team. I really appreciate the leadership and the teamwork. So many things were referenced that others are at the point of and responsible for implementing. Dr. Flansburgh with the built engagement with the principals and at the schools is certainly going to be continuing to be an important part of our work going forward. Dana Miller providing leadership to our teaching and learning program, and Stacy Voss with all of our human resources functions, and Dee Dee Caring with our finance. And it's been interesting finance year and HR year, and I guess teaching and learning year as well, given the financial challenges. We all work together and do our very best to see a common goal down the road, and trying to do the best we can with the resources we have and in the highest quality fashion possible. And Wade Phillips is here in the room as well with our technology department, and we appreciate all that he does. And Amy, our wonderful executive assistant, who keeps us all well organized, including all of the board functions. So I just want to take the kind comments and the support, not only for my work, but for the school district that we're fortunate to be a part of, but to spread that to our team, because it really is a team effort. And as you know, no one individual person is responsible for what goes well. And frankly, I suppose the things that don't go well, that probably is my responsibility. I'll always have to line up and take that and be first in line for that. But we'll keep working hard, doing our very best. But I just want to say thank you to the board, to my team, and to this wonderful community for the service and the programs that you provide to the youth and the adults and pre-K students. We greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Anderson, indeed, we do have a history of wise and dedicated board members, and we are grateful for their efforts and Dr. Cohen's efforts to bring you to Wayzata. And we are thankful and excited to work with you in the upcoming year. So thanks so much. Okay. Our next item on our agenda is, and final item, our board reports. And I know we have a couple of them this evening. I'll start with Cheryl Polzin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to report on the Minnesota School Boards Association Delegate Assembly. So I prepared a few things. I'll just read that. So, and then everybody who was there can add if I've forgotten something. So, just so our community knows, December 1st and 2nd, MSBA held their 2023 Delegate Assembly at the Doubletree Conference Center in Bloomington. Delegates from 13 MSBA regional districts from all across the state convened to discuss and vote on submitted resolutions. Wayzata was well represented as Milland, Sheila, and Heidi all served as delegates along with other school board members from Hopkins, Bloomington, Richfield, Minnetonka, Brooklyn Center, St. Anthony, New Brighton, Osseo, and Robbinsdale school districts representing Director District 4. During the proceedings, 23 resolutions were presented, debated, and voted up or down to be included in MSBA's advocacy policies for the upcoming legislative session and beyond. Resolutions pertain to many areas of public education, including school finance, charter schools, taxation, school board employee-employer relations, governance, and educational programs. With the final batch of 15 approved resolutions that now become part of the MSBA's advocacy policies, the MSBA Governmental Relations Team, and indeed all Minnesota school districts, have an updated and clear direction for coordinated advocacy that will help public school districts all across the state. A big thank you goes out to MSBA for organizing and executing this annual event, and to all delegates who traveled to Bloomington and shared their time and talents to make Delegate Assembly successful. Thank you very much for spending your time there to move that process forward.
Okay, are there any other board reports?
Madam Chair, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Just want to make a quick comment. This was my first delegate assembly. I think it's a 2-year deal, right? So this is one of 2. And I was just very impressed with how the process works. It's a fantastic way to learn how government works, how democracy works, how things are debated, and in a very orderly manner, and eventually voted up or down. So it was a very good learning experience, at least for me.
Sheila.
It was also my first experience there. I found it very eye-opening to see, representatives from across the state. And it was also kind of heartening to see a large number of things where we had almost unanimous support, to ask the legislature to do. And one, example, MSBA is going to be advocating for long-term funding for unemployment, based on the change that was made this year. So that's hopefully good news for us. And I hope to go back many more times. So thanks for the opportunity to go.
Well, thanks to the group for attending. Any other board reports?
So I would like to echo John Moroz. And I know that Bonita and Cheryl and Linda, you don't want a big fuss, but we're going to shine a spotlight on you because Bonita, you've been with us for 8 years, Cheryl, 12, Linda, 24 years. I mean, powerhouse, if I can say so myself. So I've only had the opportunity to serve with you each for 2 years. But as I learned from your experiences and your challenges and your hurdles, I reflected on the core of your leadership. And you each valued each and every student, and you thought about, through all of your decisions, belonging and academic achievement, excellent academic achievement, as Linda would always refer to, and your responsibility to each of our citizens. And I was at a loss of words, and so I always refer to poetry that I like. And so I found a poem that really spoke to me and helped me to kind of internalize your leadership. It's a poem written by Muhammad Darwish, and it's called Think of Others. As you prepare your breakfast, think of others. Don't forget to feed the pigeons. As you conduct your wars, think of others. Don't forget those who want peace. As you pay your water bill, think of others. think of those who only have clouds to drink from. As you go home, your own home, think of others. Don't forget those who live in tents. As you sleep and count the planets, think of others. There are people who have no place to sleep. As you liberate yourself with metaphors, think of others, those who have lost their right to speak. And as you think of distant others, think of yourself and say, I wish I were a candle in the darkness. It is complex and it is hard to govern the way that you did. Thank you for your service. And in that spirit, we got you a little something. Wow.
Linda.
Well, thank you, Heidi. I've just, since it's been 24 years, I did a little reflecting on that, not too much. And I have 3 thank yous. One is to the constituents, the community, the Wayzata Public School District people who have rallied around this district to really provide what you talked about in terms of belonging and academic excellence. As I think about it, I want to say thank you to all those constituents for actually supporting me 6 times in 6 different elections. The next thank you goes to many, many board colleagues that I served with over the period of years. I think I counted maybe 14 different boards. And those boards, plus the administrators that I've served with over the 24 years, stand out for me, and I appreciate so much working together with them. And lastly, I have great admiration for our teachers, for what they do every day, and for all of the Wayzata staff. And so the 3rd thank you goes to all of them. It has been a great pleasure for me to serve the Wayzata School District.
Millen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know when the last time we had 40 plus years of experience just disappear. With Cheryl, Bonita, and Linda gone, I, for one, will definitely miss their experience and their wisdom. And I want to thank Bonita for being my mentor for this year. They say out of sight, out of mind, it's not going to happen, so I'm going to keep bugging you. But please stay in touch. I really appreciate everything that you have done well before my last 2 years of membership on the board. I think Linda was on the board when my older child was in high school, well before that even. So thank you for your service, Linda. Thank you for your service, Cheryl, and thank you for your service, Bonita.
If I might, it has been a complete honor and privilege to serve on this board with some amazing people. Dr. Anderson, I still thank you 8 years ago when I walked in your office and I was like up to here with situations that was happening. You kind of brought me back down here and you were like, have you ever thought about running for the school board? I'm like, what? So it has been great. So I just, the administration, thank you for your partnership, your collaboration, giving me a space to be safe, to be authentic and be who I am. I appreciate that. To the community, thank you for putting your arms around me when I was elected on the board. I had no idea what I was supposed to do, but you showed me love anyway, so thank you for that. And Sarah, thank you for just always being there, guiding, coaching, so I appreciate that. And just to everyone that's here on this board, thank you for your voices. I appreciate, and I can only hope that I've made an impactful difference to this community in how I serve. It has been very important for me as I am so passionate about education, students, each and every student, teachers, custodians, everyone that is a part of this amazing district. So I just want to say a big thank you.
So it's hard for me to follow Linda and Benita and everybody who spoke so eloquently, especially our students tonight. Aren't they amazing? But I never guessed I would ever have a chance to serve on a body such as this with amazing people that I get to work with every day. So I echo all the thanks that Linda and Bonita talked about. And I'm very appreciative of being able to show my children by example how the importance really of civic engagement and community service. And so having that opportunity is really special to me, and being able to live out those priorities that I hold dear. So I appreciate the community for supporting me over the years, and I hope I was able to serve in a fashion that people appreciated. So thank you, everyone.
Sheila.
I've only been on the board a year. I wish I had longer to serve with the three of you. Thank you for Linda for being my mentor. Thank you, Bonita and Cheryl, for your guidance and setting such great examples, all of you. So enjoy your retirement from the school board.
Well, I will add to the comments by sharing my immense appreciation and respect and gratitude for Benita, Cheryl, and Linda. You have been unwavering advocates for each and every student, true stewards of our community, and really incredible colleagues. And I will miss you deeply. It has been a deep honor to serve with you. And this concludes our agenda for Monday, December 11th, 2023. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
I'll second.
Moved by Linda and seconded by Cheryl. All in favor of adjourning this evening, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries, and we are adjourned.